Good luck with the book, and we'll have the whips out after this break. Many of the old skills disappear. For instance, only a moment ago, the horse was the most common means of transport, and one of the chief accessories of the day was the whip, and today, sadly, few whip makers remain. And in South Australia, we think we've found about the last of the breed. Ross took a crack at this story.
These hands have been plaiting whips for some 38 years. Bill Millowick began his career when whips were as common as horse and buggies, and in his time has made whips for and taught such people to use them as Robert Mitchum, Peter Finch, Maureen O'Hara and Chips Rafferty. Bill was also a drover for Kidman and knew the real characters of the book We of the Never Never. But these days, his whips are mainly for outback stockmen and American entertainers with whip-cracking acts. To make a whip, right from leather to cracking, takes about 3 hours. Firstly, the cutting of the leather.
The best type of leather for a whip is kangaroo hide. In fact, it's the only type.
Why is this?
Marvellous leather. It's so strong and it works so good. It's very good leather. Marvellous. You cut off what you want from the outside, like a belly or a handle or something. Then you're into the better part of the whip, better part of the skin, and you proceed to cut your whip, and you go round and round and cut the whip out.
You might notice that Bill's thumbnail is a bit longer than normal, and it's really a tool of the trade.
That fingernail is the gauge. That's your guide. You can cut it very fine or a little wider or whatever width you want. That fingernail will gauge it for you, and it's without that you're shot, really.
Now, from there, what happens? You plait a belly, do you?
You plait the belly, which is the inside of the whip. Then there's another piece we call a bolster, a strip of cowhide that goes down in between the belly and the outside, and then you commence to plait over that, and that forms your whip.
Having plaited your whip, a cracker is added, and that's made of twisted cotton. Some of the whips have handles made of Indian cane, but others don't. In fact, there are a number of styles of whips.
The one in the plain brown is that's just a standard hide. The other one is what we call a black and tan or coloured, and it is cut out and half your strands, in this case which is 24 strands, 12 of them are darkened or blackened, and then you can get designs. You plait different plaits and it gives you a design in the whip, fancy design.
Now there's a whip there without a wooden handle. What's that?
That's what we call a bull whip. That's the American type whip. The handle is really inside. There's the handle and the lash is all in one. There's no separate handle as in an Australian whip.
And what's the difference? I mean, is there much difference in the way they're used?
Well, they are perhaps quicker. They're used a lot in circuses and things like that. But they're not a real practical whip to be carried around all the time.
There's a very big one here without any handle. What's that?
That's the old style bullock whip, what we used to make years ago for bullock drivers. That one is made for a lady who does a circus act, and she uses it on a 4-foot handle and uses 2 hands to work it.
Much call for bullock whips other than axe these days?
Not really, no. The bullock, that's gone, the bullock driving.
Bill is also an expert whip cracker, and here's a little trick used in stunts that I recommend you don't try and follow. In actual fact, the whip is cracking before it wraps around my legs, so I don't feel a thing. However, you might notice that my wonderful smile is a little forced.
That enough there, Dave?
He loved it. He's taken out a lifetime subscription to that whipmaker. Well, that's all for State Affair tonight. A couple of weeks ago, we gave you an address to which donations could be sent to help build the Southport Surf Lifesaving Club, who were recently burnt out. Some people missed the information and they sent mail direct to the club. Well, as it was burnt to the ground, of course, it couldn't go there, so it went to a club member. Now, he didn't get the mail, so it could well have been stolen. So if you've sent cheques direct to the Southport Surf Lifesaving Club, please cancel those cheques. And if you would like to make more inquiries or donations, contact Southport's Publicity Officer Peter Sutton on 386 0562. Until 6 tomorrow night, good night.